Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. Yes, there's birds going by. Anyway, hi. How you doing? It's another great day for murder here in Blade and Sorcery, and today I want to talk about something that's a huge concept, but anyway, it's psychology. I want to talk about psychology today and what it's done and what, just how society is dealing with it right now and what it used to be. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. I hope you're doing well wherever you are today, whether it is day or night. Just glad you're here with me for the ride. And so we are in survival mode here in Blade and Sorcery. 3 weapons come out. I choose one and make the day unpleasant for the people that come out to greet me. So we are in the arena and let's get going right now. I think I'll use the staff. Let's start off with the good old staff. Gotta imbue it a little bit of gravity. How about that? Yeah. This is great. Let's do our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. I'm just gonna go like this. Swat her against the wall real quick. What's going on? Alright, come on. Come on. I think they did something. Okay, and she is down. Okay, that was a little awkward. Let's try another one. We're gonna do a sweep. Traditional slow motion kill of the day. Come on now, work with me, game. Oh, and he's gone. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to today's topic. So, I took psychology in college, and actually, when I was still in high school, I was taking correspondence courses for psych, and let me just say this. Psychology has become so different because, all right, so let me give you a little background on me. I saw therapists for most of my life. I've seen them for everything from, it started when I was 8 years old, I think. Yeah, I was about 8 years old. I had gotten my head injury just before that. And it was the one where I hit my head on the side of a building, which was really unpleasant. It hit me on the temple, almost killed me. And then a couple months later, I started hearing music and stuff. But my personality changed so drastically that, what is going on here? Oh no, lady. Anyway, my personality changed so drastically that the school started to freak out a little bit. And so they sent a letter to my parents. Who's still alive? What's going on? Okay. They sent a letter to my parents saying that something's wrong with Orpheus. He's been acting out. He's been getting a little aggressive with some of the other students and stuff. And we suggest that you send him to a therapist. And so they did. And the therapist that I saw at first, really good guy. He was really adept at what he did. And he was actually one of the first pioneers of looking into ADD and ADHD. And so, without me knowing it, I became a secret case study for him. And it was kind of like, they didn't know that I was hearing music. And I didn't know that there was anything wrong. I mean, it was, suddenly I was developing musical talent, and I was like, well, I mean, this must be what it's like for people. Never had any reason to question it, right? And so the psychologist didn't know, or psychiatrist, didn't know that I had that going on. He just knew that my personality was weird all of a sudden, and that I started, being aggressive towards students and having problems with concentration and stuff. And so he was like, oh, it's obviously, ADD, ADHD. Put me on medication. Ooh, that was beautiful. Put me on medication immediately for it, and, it worked pretty well. But the thing is, I still had the underlying brain injury that my parents didn't get, checked out. Never had any brain scans or anything after that thing happened. But that's a whole other story I think I've done in another episode. But, so there I am. The psychiatrist is trying to figure out what's going on. And it's just this never-ending battle of, motivation was a big thing for me. Because I had the 4-letter word called potential, which, God, I hate that word. I still hate that word. Potential is such a nasty word because it's what people say about you when they think that you're being lazy, right? Or they think that you just don't care about something. We have so much potential, you're just wasting it. All right, well, screw you. I don't really care about your opinion. But, so, back then, the psychological approaches, all right, for doing things were Freudian, Jungian, Gestalt, right? There are these different things, cognitive behavioral therapy, and there are different ways that you can approach a problem. And so the way that this guy was doing it was kind of a Freudian kind of thing. He didn't ask me about my mother. Okay, so in case you're not up on psychology, Freudian psychology is you're asking questions of things, okay? So it's I'm feeling depressed. Well, what do you think is making you depressed? Well, I think that it might be because I'm not doing well on tests. Okay, so why do you think you're not doing well on tests? And it's a question and answer thing that goes along, okay? It's a process. It's called psychoanalysis. And that used to be the classic way to do things. But Freudian psychology also comes with the whole thing of tell me about your mother. It's very heavily based on your relationships with your parents and certain archetypes of people in your life. I'm getting deep in the weeds here on some of the terminology, but you get the point. So that's what we were doing. We were doing this question and answer, and since I was smarter than the average kid, and so I kind of was able to guide the situation, kind of guide the narrative the way I wanted it. So what he did, he learned that right away. he was pretty good at that. He learned that immediately, that I was trying to guide the conversations. And so he did something that was interesting, which was he'd have me do some sort of arts and crafts thing, like building a model or making a wallet. Ooh, you missed. Or making a wallet or something like that. You know, those kits that you can get to, I don't know, make leather wallets and keychains and stuff like that. We'd do those. Those were fun. But he would do that with me and then ask me questions as I'm going along. And so the idea is it distracts you. Anyway, I'm getting into I'm getting off on a tangent here.
Oh!
So
Damn!
Wow, that was interesting. And so I'm getting off on a tangent here a little bit, but my point is psychology used to be pretty simple, back in the day, when it was just, they'd figure out what's going on, they'd try to target it, they'd do some sort of therapy, maybe some medication, and that was that, right? It wasn't something that we necessarily discussed, which, don't get me wrong, it's good these days that we're discussing psychological issues and mental disorders and things like that. But, and here's the big but, so to speak. No, that's a big but. Okay. But the thing is, these days, psychology, we're so focused on sharing our problems with everybody. So someone can say, "Oh, how's your day going?" "Oh, well, I'm having an issue with my neurodivergent opinion on things, and my introverted self is having an issue because of my anxiety disorder, and I have PTSD from when I was," this is what's happening. It's called pop psychology, and it started, I would say, somewhere around the late 80s, right? Pop psychology became very popular to go ahead and almost self-diagnose, and it was because of, different TV shows and specials, and they used to have this thing infomercials for, is your child not motivated in school? Do they have potential? Well, buy our new kit. It's 17 VHS tapes and 25 audio tapes and a series of lessons and everything. Oh, and this can cure your child of all sorts of, motivation issues, and that's pop psychology. You're trying to, you look at things going on and you go, well, I probably have this, and I think I have that. And that's where we're getting to the real meat of the issue here in today's episode. Have you noticed, if you're someone that's on TikTok or, Instagram or whatever, have you noticed that there are entire channels, entire personalities, oh geez, based upon someone's mental condition, right? And they're usually really interesting ones too, right? Tourette's syndrome is a good example. Oh no. Tourette's syndrome is a good example. I'm gonna fire this up. Fire it up! But Tourette's syndrome's a good example. multiple personality disorder, or what is it? I can't remember the actual. It's a multiple personality thing, but it's like two halves of the same person. There's two personalities that like can switch and fight between each other and stuff. There are just all the interesting, disorders and conditions and everything, and you see them all the time. Like, oh wow, I've learned so much about Tourette's. Let's say it's Tourette's. So, someone that's, they share their lives about what it's like to have Tourette's syndrome. Now, Tourette's syndrome, let's define this real quick before I go on. Tourette's syndrome is an uncontrolled series of either movements or tics or actions or sounds. I used to have a friend in high school that had it, and the only thing she would do is while we were doing whatever, she would go, once in a while. That was it. She would just go, and that was it. That was her Tourette's. It was fully verified by a doctor. There's a thing going on in her brain that just made her go, once in a while. That was it. No big deal. And that is the problem, because that is what Tourette's is like for 99% of the people that have it. It's some sort of, they'll be just kind of twitching like this, or a part of their face will twitch once in a while. Or, they'll have trouble, grabbing onto something once in a while because their body just kind of drops it, okay? Uncontrolled movements, uncontrolled sounds, but it's normally, like I said, sounds, right? Well, how many people have you seen on social media they have Tourette's syndrome, but not just Tourette's syndrome. They have the I can't control what I'm talking about, and I swear constantly. That's the one that everybody has on the internet. The one where they're just like, oh, so let me tell you a little bit about my Tourette's. Damn, right? It's another normal day. Piss. That's such an incredibly rare version of Tourette's, and people think that it's not. So they're like, I'm gonna make up a disorder, and it's gonna be I have Tourette's. It's so horrible. Oh damn. Oh look at me. Oh damn, right? And that's what becomes. It's damaging, folks, because you think that you're learning something about somebody, and this was what I was talking about originally with everyone sharing it too much, right? I think this is what happens when there's this sharing. People want to feel special, right? They want to feel like there's something unique about them. And the internet is one of those places that really affords people the opportunity to make something up, because attention is really a narcotic, right? It's a drug. Being able to get attention from people. And the more attention you get from people, the more you feel good about yourself, right? When you're a creator, if you're a creator of any kind, right? Whether it's on Instagram or whatever, maybe you just post things on your social media feed for friends. You like it when you go in and you see likes or comments, right? It kind of makes your heart flutter a little bit, It's kind of cool. And so the attention is there. Some people will get addicted to that feeling. Come on, shoot, bro. Okay. Some people get addicted to that feeling. And the problem with that is they start figuring out ways to do it more and more, right? So the problem becomes Susie, let's call her Susie, is sitting at home, and she's someone that may or may not have an actual mental disorder, right? She may be someone that suffers with, anxiety disorder or something, right? Well, these days, because the norm is sharing your problems with everybody sharing everything with everybody, we've started to get normalized to the idea of people have things wrong. And people do, right? There's plenty of people that have plenty of things wrong. But when you're the type of person that feels like you have to share your neurodiversity, and this is ow, you got me. This is a problem, because when you share something about yourself that is a mental condition or disorder, or let's use the terminology these days, neurodivergent, right? If you're someone who's neurodivergent, it takes a lot to share that with somebody. Okay, on my channel, I have never ever hid the fact that I have certain mental disorders. I've got autism, I've got brain damage, I have something called schizoaffective disorder, which is bipolar. Oh boy. Hulk smash, which is bipolar disorder plus... Ooh, I missed 2. Bipolar disorder plus schizophrenia. The music that I hear all the time is schizophrenia, and I have bipolar. And I've never hidden that stuff. But, the first time I decided to start talking about that stuff on my channel, it's difficult. You're sharing something about yourself that's deep and meaningful, right? And instead, these people who fake it are using that feeling that you have. That kind of, oh, this person's really sharing something about themselves. Oh wow, let me tune in. Let me find out about their life story. Let me follow them as they go through everyday life, dealing with this disorder. Well, this kind of dilutes people's expectations and understandings of disorders, because when you see the fake ones, right, someone with Tourette's who they just talk to you and they swear like a drunken sailor once in a while, and they're telling you that they have Tourette's and this is how it's like, and it's really affecting me, and you'll see them like crying sometimes about it and telling you stories about how when they go out in public they're embarrassed about everything and how it's really challenging for them to do, and they feel, sometimes, oh, I feel so accepted because of this community that's so wonderful to me. And then you find out that Susie was lying. You find out the whole time that she was lying, because the internet's a bitch, folks, okay? The internet is kind of like an elephant with memory. There's always going to be a record of everything that happened after a certain point on the internet, okay? For me, there's not really a lot of stuff about me out there, because I wasn't someone who put a bunch of my stuff online. There wasn't really an online to put it on when I was in school, right? So the problem becomes the internet has a very deep and very long memory. And so when Susie says that she's got Tourette's, and you go back 5 years and you see on her social media feed that she's talking just fine. She's got no issues at all with making, words go together in a good sentence without stopping and saying some sort of swear word tirade real quick. Okay? And that's the problem, because suddenly all of Susie's followers, for years sometimes, have been told that this is what Tourette's is like, right? When they're seeing a fake version of it. And so the idea that we have in pop psychology kind of gets twisted, because a lot of people self-diagnose, and that's part of the problem. I don't think that Susie thought she had Tourette syndrome. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure she knew she did not, okay? And you might know who I'm talking about. There's a specific creator that I'm talking about that got busted for this actual thing. Let's say Susie, again. She went and for years lied to her followers. And so for years, those people who were tuning in to find out what it was actually like to live with a debilitating disorder, because that version of Tourette's is incredibly difficult to live with, because you're constantly embarrassed. It's like how when I hear music, it's sort of similar in terms of how it works. What is happening? If I'm in a place where it's really quiet or somber or like serious, like let's say a funeral, that's a good example, and I'm sitting there, and the more serious and quiet that I have to be, the louder the music in my head will be, and a lot of the times the more inappropriate it will be. So I'll be at a funeral and then blasting in my head is I like big butts, but and it's sometimes bad, and that's how Tourette's can be. The more you try to control it, the worse it can get. And so it's embarrassing for people. It's debilitating. They go out in public and they're constantly upset and they're constantly on edge because they're going to do something, that's not socially acceptable. Well, if you've been learning stuff from Susie the whole time, you're not going to understand what it's actually like. You're going to find out what her acting version of it is and what it was like for her to make up the whole time. Okay? And psychology is like that these days. Pop psychology. People diagnosing themselves. Whenever I do a mental health video, and I guess this could be a mental health video, I like to say the following. I am not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. I am not a therapist. I do not have any degrees in anything in a medical or, psychological mental health related field. However, I try to share very genuine experiences. And some people will hear those genuine experiences and they'll compare it to their own lives and they'll go, oh yeah, I think I have kind of what Orpheus has going on too. Well, unless you go to a doctor and get diagnosed with that stuff, it's going to be dangerous for your life to assume that you have a disorder. And that's why it's so important for people who think that you have something going on. Don't go on the internet and start telling people how difficult it is to live with that disorder. Don't do that. Go to a doctor, get diagnosed, figure out what's going on with your life, and then, if you need support, go out there and talk about it with your friends and family. No big deal. Okay, so what do I have to say about psychology? I think it used to be much simpler. We kind of looked at the symptoms, we went along with it, and we quietly kind of took care of it. There wasn't really any shame, at least for me growing up, in terms of my psychological disorders. I felt it, but it wasn't from society. And these days, we're accepting every single thing without questioning it. Folks, if you have something that's going on in your life that you think you need help for, if you're confused about something, you're upset about something, you're anxious about something, go get some help. Just go talk to somebody about it. Someone professional, someone getting paid for it, and you'll probably be on a better path to your mental health. Anyway, that's my little blurb for today. We will see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. Be good, do good, treat yourself well. Because you know what? You deserve it, buddy. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!